All characters and events in this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated. Poorly. The following program contains coarse language, and due to its content, it should not be listened to by anyone. Enjoy.
Harbingers of sorrow, natural disasters can be the cause of troubling and undesirable stress, and a volcano is no exception. But what should you do if a volcano erupts near you or your family? Here we see the Stevens family enjoying a Sunday picnic. But suddenly, Dada hears a noise. It's a volcano. Junior seems worried, but have no fear, Junior. Jane learned in school what to do when you hear a volcano erupt. That's right, Jane. Duck and cover. So what will you do when you hear a volcano erupting? That's right. Duck and cover. Looks like you got the idea. Duck and cover. Thank you, and goodbye.
And we're back with another episode of South Park, Season 1.
Go Canadian?
That's right. Well, I was doing a duck and cover. Hope that you enjoyed that message from an important PSA about volcano safety. We are doing episode number 3 of South Park Season 1. It is Volcano, and it aired on August 27th, 1997. Rachel, please explain to the audience what we are getting into with Volcano.
So, the boys are going on a camping trip in the woods with Stan's uncle.
Yep.
Stan's uncle and his friend. Ned.
And Jimbo.
And Jimbo. Yes, Ned and Jimbo into the mountains of Colorado, I guess. So at the same time, we actually get to see Stan's dad in this one.
Randy shows up, yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. That we find out that the volcano the mountain in South Park is a volcano, and it's going to erupt.
That's right.
So the boys are already out in the mountain, and now South Park is worried about a volcano, so we have to, all the shenanigans ensue during this time.
Mm-hmm. It is based off of the fact that in 1997 there were 2 volcano movies that came out that year.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we will watch them for the show at some point. Matt and Trey thought that they were just the stupidest movies ever. So they decided to make fun of it. But then the other part of it is the whole idea of hunting.
Oh, yes.
Which
they were hunting out in the woods.
In a small mountain town that I can't remember if it was Trey or Matt. I think it was Trey who was saying that his grandpa was into hunting, but his dad didn't like it and Trey didn't like it. So it was that mix of how do you kind of get over that hump of
that viewpoint of hunting?
Yeah. Or how do you deal with not liking hunting in an area that's mostly done? Volcano and Dante's Peak both came out in 1997, and they just thought it was they make fun of disaster movies a lot in the run of South Park. Those just happened to be the ones that they had at the time, right before these both came out, so it makes sense that they would want to make fun of those movies.
What was the movie?
Volcano and Dante's Peak.
I don't know if I've ever heard of those.
Probably not, because they're disaster movies. The disaster movies is a whole different genre that Shelf Life will have to tackle, of course. Just don't know when exactly we will do it, but you can add those to the list.
Sharknado?
Yeah, Sharknado is an example. You can add those to these are more high budget, but yeah, you can add them to the list. It's fine. You can get them in there. But one of the famous things, the most famous thing for me coming out of this, and I remember watching this episode as a kid. I don't remember if it was the first time it was on. I don't remember if it was a rerun or whatever. But I distinctly remember this one. And I remember it's coming right for us. I just know that...
Oh, yeah.
I know it because...
The Jimbo line.
Yeah. So what they said is that what that is from is there was in Montana or Colorado, somewhere in the U.S., it's illegal to hunt black bears because they're endangered.
Right.
And someone got arrested for shooting a black bear and their cubs. They shot them out of a tree. Like, the way that clearly the crime took place, they shot them out of a tree.
There was probably fall damage.
But they tried to say that they had to shoot those bears because they were coming right for them. So they said they were coming right for us in their defense. But they were like, but they were in a tree. So clearly they weren't coming right for you.
No, it sounded like they were trying to get away from you.
That's where that comes from. And they do the little fireside chat, and Trey says that story about, you know, where they got it's coming right for us, and Matt starts to laugh, and Trey goes, "That's not funny." So it's that typical humor that the two of them have.
It's funny, and it's also not funny at the same time.
It's
finding humor in the thing that's
I love how they make fun
humorous.
of Jimbo doing it, because it's so blatant that he's just like, I just have to say this because otherwise I'll get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, shall we get right into it?
I think we should.
Okay, it starts with Cartman getting picked up by the boys, by Uncle Jimbo.
Is Jimbo on his mom's side?
Yes.
Or his... Okay.
It is Stan's mom's brother.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know when you find that out, but you do at some point. Randy refers to Jimbo as his brother-in-law at some point in the series. I definitely think when Jimbo was fighting COVID, I remember that too.
Oh, I could see that.
Because I have a feeling that Jimbo didn't get vaccinated. So anyway,
did Randy?
Well, he caused COVID.
Yeah, you're right.
So...
That was a horrible episode. I hated it.
That later.
God, I hated
So
that. It was gross.
So they have to camp overnight because they're going hunting, and they have to hunt early in the morning because animals are much easier to shoot in the morning.
It's a weird way to put it, but
scientific fact. The way that Jimbo phrases it, he makes it sound like because they're groggy. Like that's the way that
Gotta get them when they're sleepy and they're just waking up. I mean, people go fishing in the morning. It's a better time to go fishing. But I think that's more so like weather and temperature and
eating.
Right.
They're closer to the surface.
Right. So maybe he's got a point. Maybe the animals are just waking up. They're going to get their own food and you shoot them. I don't know. I don't hunt.
I do not hunt either. Folks at home, let us know. And Ned is Jimbo's old war buddy, and he's got laryngitis, so he talks with a voice box.
Laryngitis? I would imagine he just doesn't have vocal cords, right? He's at, like, the vocal surgery.
I can't believe I said laryngitis.
You said laryngitis. I'll let you retry that.
No, I think you gotta have to keep it in that I said laryngitis.
I was like, if that's why he uses this voice box, I had no idea.
Yeah, laryngitis. It starts with an L. It's like a
laryngectomy.
Laryngectomy. Yeah. See, it sounds like laryngitis because it's with your throat. So
but you said laryngitis.
I said laryngitis though, like an idiot.
So laryngectomy.
I'm making an idiot out of myself. Oh, everyone thinks I'm dumb.
No, it actually sounds like something South Park would say though, and this is why I question it.
I have laryngitis.
Right. You mean he had a laryngectomy?
Yes, a laryngectomy.
Which is actually the removal of the voice box. So he uses a tool to allow him to actually speak.
Yeah, like Kane. Or in some of the worst PSA commercials whenever they're like, I'm 35 years old. And it just looks painful to be those people.
Oh, I don't like those commercials.
Yeah, don't smoke.
It upsets me.
Kids, that's kind of the lesson to be had here.
Yeah, that typically it's smoking that does it.
I do find it interesting because Ned and Jimbo come back in the next episode too, Big Al's Big A Boat Ride, and they definitely were trying to make the two of them a thing compared to having Randy. Like, Randy shows up in this as a cameo, and Randy becomes such a larger character in the long run than Jimbo and Ned, because Jimbo and Ned are trying to be, they're basically the stereotypical rednecks that South Park is making fun of at this point.
Right. I think that's exactly the idea.
Yeah. Cartman gets in the car, and his mom comes out and is like, "Oh, I hope you boys take good care of him," and stuff, and wants Cartman to kiss her goodbye, and the boys are making fun of him, of course. And Cartman's like, "Drive, goddammit!" So they take off in Jimbo's, would you call it a Jeep? It looks like some sort of military Jeep type thing.
Right, it kind of does look like a military Jeep. What is the gas guzzler, those big things?
Oh, like a Hummer?
I
don't think Hummers were around yet.
They weren't around yet, but it kind of looks like a Hummer mixed with a Jeep.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way. I don't even think Hummers are illegal.
I don't think that they're around anymore either. Yeah. If you see somebody with a Hummer, it's old, I think.
Oh, I bet.
I don't think they're in production. And the boys are making fun of Cartman because he's getting babied by his mom, and Jimbo encourages that testosterone flowing because he gives them the basics of hunting.
Right.
You don't walk with your gun, and you make sure that the safety's on. Don't shoot anything that looks human, and don't spill your beer in the bullet chamber.
And the kids are just like, yeah, we don't drink.
Yeah, and that's like, oh, that's right, I don't think kids drink beer.
And I bet when they were kids, they drank.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I think it's just so, like, second nature. I think that was just, like, a different culture for them. So now they're, like, in this point, and they're like, wait, you guys don't drink? What?
The weird part is supposed to be, and the math doesn't totally work out, because I think I think Jimbo and Ned are supposed to be Vietnam vets.
That's what it feels like, that Ned is a Vietnam vet.
But it would have been like 23, 25 years since it would make sense for them to have been in Vietnam for 1997.
Okay.
So I guess that might work out, because that would mean that they'd be in their 40s.
Yeah, I think that's.
So I guess
that
fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
he's the older brother.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I do also like that throughout this episode and throughout the run of South Park, whenever Ned shows up, if you had the voice box, you would only talk when you thought it was necessary to talk, probably, right? Like, you're not gonna just say random stuff. You're gonna nod your head yes or whatever instead of saying yes. I feel like if I had it.
I mean, if it's like something that bugs you, I would think, like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I don't know if it bugs people to talk. I mean, folks at home, if you have this or you know somebody that has this, like, is it a painful thing? And
out of, like, actual curiosity. We're not trying to be rude.
Yeah, no, I'm not even trying to be snarky about that, yeah. I do like that they have Ned say long sentences. Instead of just saying, like, they're kids, they don't drink, he's like, oh yeah, I don't think that kids... Like, it's always, like, a lot longer than it needs to be.
Right. Or
later on when he gets set on fire, he makes sure to have the voice box thing up so he can shout, help, help. That always makes me laugh. Jimbo can't believe that the boys aren't going to drink because hunting sober is like fishing sober. So he thinks that it's boring if you're not drinking to do the hunting or the fishing.
Jimbo.
They're happy because they're leaving the city. They get to go up into the wilderness and get away from everything, which means that they just go up a hill and they are there.
Right.
That's the end of that.
Not too far out.
So each one of the boys gets a gun and a beer. And I think the joke is that they all get increasingly...
And some smokes, I think, too.
Do they? I thought it was just a beer. But
maybe it was.
They each get an increasingly larger gun, and then they run out of rifles, so they give Cartman what looks kind of like an automatic weapon of some kind.
Sure.
And it looks like Stan might have a shotgun. I think is also.
I think he does have a shotgun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
He's gonna use a shotgun to go hunting. And Cartman points the gun at Stan because they get into an argument.
Oh.
And what was?
That is like the number one thing you do not do is point a gun at somebody.
I don't even think that was an issue.
No matter if the safety is on or not, you do not point a gun at another person.
I think that Matt and Trey said that a lot of these episodes, and I agree with them, look very quaint. Back then, when they first aired, this was, oh, good heavens, and the monocles were falling off. But nowadays, they'd be kind of quaint, except for this part, which they didn't even get a note on from Comedy Central.
Which is crazy.
But a short time later, two kids pointing guns at each other and saying that they were going to kill each other would not have flown.
Oh, no. And Jimbo also kills a bear at this point, too. Like,
well, hold on.
I'm sorry.
Because there's a great line before that. They say something about... Well, Jimbo says that it's dangerous to point your guns like that because you could spill your beer. That's a good line. And then they say something about Africa, and Cartman says...
My mom says there's a lot of black people in Africa.
It's such a weird line. I don't remember seeing that.
It's such a randomly stupid line. I liked it.
That's it?
It's just such a dumb line.
That's it? It's such a throwaway line.
Yeah, but
yes.
I like that those little throwaway lines. The one that I actually remember more is at some point they talk about China, probably in like the second season, and Cartman says it again and says, my mom says there's a lot of black people in China. So he does it again.
So he just says it for anything
Pretty
at this
much.
point.
So now you can explain Jimbo killing the bear, because that's the next thing that happens.
So this is when they came up on a Rocky Mountain black bear.
So gorgeous.
And he says, isn't it beautiful? It's only one of the left of its kind. And then all of a sudden he goes, my God, it's coming right for us.
My God, it's coming right for us!
And shoots it.
Yeah, and
I
he
can't
just
believe
shoots it. And this is where Jimbo explains that they can't shoot a lot of animals unless they say it's coming right for them. Because of the Democrats, in particular, he blames.
Yep.
So they start shooting other animals. They use a rocket launcher to blow up a deer.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Stan and Kyle have their mouths agape at this. And Stan is just shocked and he can't believe that this is what hunting is. They do It's Coming Right For Us a few times. And then Cartman starts having Nam flashbacks because he lied and said that he was in Vietnam. And I guess he's supposed to be having, like, an out-of-body experience to, like, a previous life or something.
Maybe that's what it is. Or he's just imagining it.
Yeah, he's just playing along because he's Cartman.
Right, well, they're kids. You gotta remember that they're kids.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, they are kids.
So they're probably playing make-believe at points with this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because, I mean, they think that the guns are toys.
Right.
They track down a rabbit, and they want Stan to shoot it because
rabbit, but yes.
Jimbo wants Stan to... Well, okay, so we'll talk about this in a second. So Jimbo wants to have Stan shoot it to make Stan a man. That's basically Jimbo's goal here, right?
Yeah,
it's his nephew.
I think it's his nephew. He wants to bond with him and help him become a man type of thing. And
Stan can't do it. He just can't shoot the bunny. And Jimbo says...
Shoot the bunny.
He won't
make me shoot a bunny.
He won't have his nephew be a tree hugger. And then Cartman and Stan point their guns at each other again. But before anything can happen, the mountain starts to shake. So, Rachel, between the deaths of these animals in season 1 where the group goes hunting, compare that to season 1 of Simpsons when the family went camping.
Yes.
Which is the better deaths? The animals in this or the rabbit getting flung from
God. And let's see, for comedic factor, I would say the rabbit getting flung.
Yes.
I
mean, that's one of my favorite moments ever.
By the trap was the best thing.
This has more...
This was a bit more violent about it.
This has more commentary this
hunting. Is way more comedic, or not comedic, but commentary about guns and hunting and... And wildlife.
Has more thought into it.
The other one is them trying to survive being lost.
That's true.
In the
They're
wilderness.
just trying to survive. Yeah.
These guys are just hunting.
They have
for sport.
rocket launchers and So we end up at the seismic lab. The South Park apparently keeps track of a seismic lab, and we get the introduction of Randy Marsh. They don't name him. He gets named Randy, but he doesn't get named Randy Marsh. We don't know that this is Stan's dad yet, but of course this becomes Stan's dad.
Yes.
One of the most beloved and used characters in the series.
Weirdest character. Weird character arcs with him.
I think as Trey and Matt got older, they were able to use Randy as their surrogate more and more of dopey dads.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Can you even say just dopey dads? Because this dad, he
we'll
gets real weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think dopey dad would be, and then dopey dad.
See, yeah, it works.
Damn it.
It works.
Yeah, he goes from dopey dad to dopey dad. If anybody
Towley
understands
is
that
his,
joke.
yeah. Towley ends up being his personal assistant, I'm pretty sure.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
God, I can't wait for that episode.
Can you? Can you not wait?
I love that Towley episode. I know you're not a big
man.
fan of Towley.
I don't remember.
He doesn't have a lot to do because he's the town geologist, so there's not a lot of seismic activity going on. But there's suddenly the shake, and it registers like an earthquake. So he calls someone, and he tells them that the mountain is smoking, and they're the funny like, yes, and confirms that there's a volcano. So they do the oh my god, and it does like the dun 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 dun, dun, and then he gets a sip of coffee.
Does he do the classic? Oh my god!
No, he does not do his. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There is
a classic.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh
and it's my favorite one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a little disappointed it doesn't happen in this one.
That's true. It is a proto. Oh my god!
It
that
is.
He does later in the series. I think World of Warcraft he does it.
It's one of my favorites. I can spoiler that one. Everybody should understand that.
Yeah. So the idea here is, of course, there aren't active volcanoes that we know of in the Rocky Mountains by Colorado. In Volcano and in Dante's Peak, I think, was Yellowstone, if I remember correctly. I might not remembering that right. The movie Volcano takes place in L.A., and of course there aren't volcanoes in L.A. So they said if Hollywood could do it and put stupid volcanoes in, then we could do it. And the Comedy Central people thought that it was good too because it shows that in South Park anything can happen. It's not even rubber band reality like The Simpsons.
Sure.
It is off the wall zany. We can do whatever we want with this world. It is a world where it starts in South Park and it's not your universe.
Right. So you just mentioned the LA one, right? The closest volcano is 181 miles away from LA.
Okay.
It's the Cazo Volcanic Field.
That doesn't sound that far away.
It doesn't. And then there is a volcano, dormant I guess it's dormant, right? Because it's not active. Well, no, it is. It does say it's active. Hold on. So there is an active volcano in Colorado.
There is.
Dotsero. And I'm sorry, I'm probably saying all of these things wrong. But Dotsero, Dotsero Volcano,
Okay.
in western Eagle County is Colorado's only active volcano.
Huh.
It last erupted 4,200 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, look
So
at
it's
but
very
in 2018, a report from the United States Geological Survey listed it as moderate threat to human activity.
Oh. What? Okay. So I guess it could happen that the volcano goes off. If it went off 4,200 years ago, it's a moderate threat now. So folks in our lifers in Colorado, let us know, is this an existential threat to everyone out there?
Huh.
Didn't know.
Look, we're learning so many things today.
That's what South Park's good for. It's very educational. I think you could definitely show all these episodes in a classroom and kids could learn, for sure.
Absolutely. Mr. Garrison would.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Need to write an essay on Sanford and Son and get that in by the end of the week. So at night, they pour some gas on the fire, and the joke here is that the wood is too dry. It's not igniting the flames, right? Or it's not dry enough to ignite the flames. So Jibbo's like, well, we'll have to use the old Native American trick, whatever he says.
I don't know, some stupid racist thing, I would
assume. I think the idea is that they're going to pour the
Indian
gin.
fire trick, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to pour the gin on the fire. I think that's the joke that they were doing, but instead they just take the can of gasoline and then just pour gas on the fire.
Right. And
Ned gets set on fire, and I laughed at this, because the fire spreads, and the
Jimbo's
Jeep,
running around, yeah.
Yeah, and Ned's and they're all kind of like stop, drop, and roll, Ned, and laughing about it, even though we'd be dead. And
Right.
the gas can tips over, and it sets a trail toward the Jeep and blows it up.
Van.
They call it a van, which it's
I
not
disagree.
A van. It is not a van. It's not a van.
No.
Folks at home, let us know if you really think this is a van, but it's not. It blows up the Jeep. So now they have no way of getting home.
Nope.
They're stuck in the woods.
Right.
Because there are no cell phones. So they're just there.
Yeah, think about that one. There's no cell phones.
Even if they had a cell phone today, they probably wouldn't get very good reception.
Absolutely not.
But they
You're in the middle
probably
of the woods.
might be able to get GPS to find their way back.
Yeah, even then you won't have good enough reception for that.
Yeah,
Plus,
that's
they're
true.
probably dead at this point because they've been out there for all night and
Well,
batteries
Ned's
don't
dead
last long.
because he was set on fire.
Oh, man. I mean, you're supposed to be able to call 911 even when you have, like, zero reception. Does it always work? I don't think so, considering how many people go get lost in the woods and die. So
Cartman is able to finally cook at the wieners that he was trying
yeah.
to eat
From
via
Ned's
Ned.
body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ned was cooking them up pretty good at
thank
that
you,
point.
Ned. We
Yeah.
appreciate that.
We go to the mayor's office now, and Randy comes in, and I like the discussion between the mayor and her secretary before Randy is able to come into the office, because she thinks she gets a gynecologist and a geologist confused,
Right.
and then she keeps putting herself down a bigger hole, and then the guy keeps just being patient and just correcting her in a very polite manner, and eventually she fires him, and he's like, "Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad that I was able to work with you."
Very polite guy.
I thought it was a very good send up as well of how these clerks and aides have to act towards the politicians in charge.
Right. Yes.
You just kind of have to kiss their ass, even though you know that they're incompetent. Because you want to be the incompetent politician one day. But Randy comes in.
You want to be the incompetent? Oh,
That's
because
what
they do.
they
Oh, yeah,
do.
the clerks do? Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. That's right.
Randy shows them a graph, and it goes from normal to bad, and they're at totally screwed at this point, based on where the volcanic activity is. Then there's this frozen screen
Great
of them
graph.
learning the news about this, where the score again goes like dun 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 dun, dun, and nobody does anything.
Suspense, yes.
But then Chef explains that there's some boys hunting in the woods, and this, I guess, is where you would think Randy knows it's Stan.
You'd think, but I guess it's not his dad yet.
Right, yeah, it's not officially his dad
Or he doesn't
yet.
even know they went.
Or he doesn't know they went. I guess that's true, too. He could have been up all night doing the seismograph.
Chef just says some of the school children are camping. It could be anybody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Jimbo could have just told Sharon that he
I'm
wanted
taking
to
the
take the
kids.
boys camping, yeah. But it felt more like a planned thing, because he
Yeah.
took Kenny and the rest of them.
True.
One thing that I think that we missed here is that throughout this whole thing, Kenny has been gaining Jimbo's favor by
Right.
being Kenny, because he's the little
There's not a nice way to say it.
gross kid, I guess is the way to say it. He drinks the gasoline.
He drinks the gas.
Because Jimbo says that they should try the beer or the gin,
Right.
and they don't want it, but Kenny drinks the gasoline.
Right.
And then Kenny is willing to shoot a ram or something. He shoots something.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then so Ned gives him the gun that he gave Stan instead, and he's kind of like, well, Kenny's more so what I wanted to do today, so I'm just gonna have Kenny by my side instead of Stan.
Yeah, so Stan is getting more and more dejected that
Yes.
his Uncle Jimbo likes Kenny more than he likes him.
Right. This comes back.
Yes. Yeah,
have
that's
to
why.
talk
That's
about
why.
this.
Because I forgot about it. Because I had to talk about it. This kind of does come here, because this is where they tell Jimbo and Ned are telling a camp story about about Ned's fake arm, or
Right.
Ned how Ned lost his arm,
Right.
and they scare Cartman by being like nah, and they put a fake arm or something, and they try to scare him. And
right.
this
It's like
this
a
is
metal
when
arm. It's probably something that he can attach, or if he wants to use a fake
yeah,
arm
yeah,
or not.
yeah, exactly. And this is where the boys reject the gin because they say it tastes like Cartman's pee. Jimbo is happy because he tells Stan that this Kenny is really a dirty little bastard,
Yes.
and derides Stan for not being. And this is where Stan's like, but I could be a dirty little bastard too.
Yeah, poor Stan just wants the approval of his uncle, I guess, but...
Yeah, because he doesn't know that Jimbo's a redneck. Like, he doesn't understand that he probably shouldn't
It's just his uncle.
be looking up to him. Yeah, it's just his uncle. This is where Cartman tells the story of Scuzzlebutt? Scuttlebutt?
Yes, that is right, Scuzzlebutt.
Scuzzlebutt. Rachel, do you want to tell about what Scuzzlebutt is?
I mean, Scuzzlebutt is pretty much the Bigfoot of South Park, but...
With some modifications.
With a bunch of modifications. Let's see. He loves the taste of blood. He takes pieces of his victims and adds them to his deformed body. So what was it? He has like a knife for a hand.
No, not a knife.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
The boys think it's going to be a knife.
A piece of celery. So for his left hand, he has a piece of celery. And he also has... And I don't understand this one, but Patrick Duffy is his leg? Like, just completely the person Patrick Duffy.
Do you know who Patrick Duffy is?
I feel like we've talked about this already.
Have we? Patrick Duffy is the dad from Step by Step, is what he would have been at the time. He was also in Dallas. And they used it because they were, like, trying to think of the most bland person. And they were like, Patrick Duffy.
Sitcom dad there.
Yeah. So Patrick Duffy.
Yeah,
very
so
bland.
I would describe Scuzzlebutt as the Bigfoot of South Park with a celery arm and a Patrick Duffy leg.
And what does he like to do?
I forgot about this. He weaves baskets and other assorted crafts, apparently. Which, you know, I don't see the problem with this.
I like that you also said other assorted crafts, because that's how I wrote it down. Because I think that might be how Cartman says it.
Yeah. I love the fact that he's a basket weaver.
Yes, he is a basket weaver. Well, because what else are you going to do in the woods?
Yeah, why not?
Do something. You got to have a hobby.
Get crafty.
He lives by himself. He's lonely.
Craftiness is the best hobby.
They tell Cartman that this story sucks, and he sucks at telling scary stories. And Cartman devises a plan because he wants to make a Scuttlebutt outfit to scare the rest of them. Right. To show them that Scuzzlebutt's real.
Wants to scare them.
Yeah. While he takes off, though, they decide to sing Kumbaya. And Ned does it on the speaker box. He's Kumbaya.
And Jimbo cries.
Yeah, and Jimbo starts crying.
Which is kind of moving. It's kind of moving.
You were moved by this
He
part?
calls it the cancer kazoo.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The old cancer kazoo.
Yeah. I think Ned had a very lovely voice before he had his larynx.
I wonder if he did. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's why Jimbo's super moved by it.
I was gonna say I think you find out that he did in one episode, but that could have been them telling the boys a story.
Oh, maybe.
So Ned has, like, this very, like, nice voice
he's got, like,
in
a
the
sultry
flashback.
voice.
Yeah, but I don't remember if it's real or if it's them telling the story to the kids.
I don't know. But yeah, I think that might be why Jimbo's so moved by it. I really do, because if they were in the war together and he knows what his voice sounded like, and so he's like, you have to sing.
That's a very nice thought.
It's a sweet thought, which is weird, but you know what? I'm gonna give him some more depth and dimension. I'm gonna say that's what it is.
I'll allow it. I don't know if it's there, but you know,
it's probably not true at all.
I like the interpretation.
Jimbo just likes the song.
I like the interpretation. So the next morning, Kyle wakes up Stan, saying that Cartman's gone. Stan asks where Ned and Jimbo are, and they went fishing with Kenny. And Stan's upset because
which is weird. Why did they only take Kenny?
I bet it was something where it was like, oh, let the rest of the boys sleep. We'll get a fishing trip in early. And Kenny was either up or they thought, oh, I bet, see if Kenny wants to go because he likes the hunting. Maybe he'll like the fishing, and the other boys didn't really like the hunting. Sure. So I don't know if it was totally malicious necessarily.
Sure.
I really don't think that Jimbo is.
I don't think he realizes
thinking he's making Stan upset.
No, he's just enjoying bonding with somebody.
But I do think that he is disappointed that Stan doesn't like
absolutely
this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is another lesson to be had out there for those of you that are either parents or uncles or aunts. Your child does not have to like the same things you like.
No.
You can expose them to it. You can show them, like, I like this thing. Like, hey, do you want to see what I like to do? Right. But if they don't like it, then that's the end of it. You don't have to. They don't have to follow in your footsteps.
The problem comes when you force things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't force things. They might like it, but they might end up liking it later in life. But at that point, if they don't like it, they don't like it.
Jimbo's not forcing Stan. No. He's bullying him, but I don't think he realizes it. Like, it's a different way than forcing him. It's making him feel less loved,
right?
Because of it. You know, it's a different way of making him feel bad about it.
Oh, you're not good at this? Oh, you don't like this? Well, then I'm not going to love you as much as I love this other person who is good at it and who does like it.
Yeah. So
well, that's not fair. Yeah.
Take that lesson from Shelf Life and Volcano.
Shelf life lessons.
Yes. Shelf life lessons. Shelf life lessons?
Exactly!
We just keep coming up with gold! We go to them fishing, and they are using grenades to blow up the fish.
Yep. The best way to get fish.
I don't think, even if you do blow them up with a grenade, you can't eat them, right?
I don't think so.
Like, even if it were legal, I don't think you can eat them after that.
I don't think you should.
And then they use a missile. They're like, well, we might as well take out the whole pond at this point. And they use a missile.
And they really do, and then it smells.
And I assume Kenny says something pretty vulgar, because Ned says it smells like dead fish, and Kenny says something. And
yeah,
Jimbo
I would assume it's something about a certain body part that tends to have a fishy smell.
Yep. And then Jimbo says that he's the coolest kid he knows. And he makes him his honorary nephew.
Right. Which, I don't know, maybe that's a nice feeling for Kenny.
Could be. I mean, Kenny's parents are around.
Right.
Kyle had told them while they were fishing that Cartman had left, and they were like, wait, which one? The fat boy? So they decide they have to go find him.
Right.
In the meantime, there's a press conference happening. I love this little bit because the news guy's like, there's terrible peril coming to South Park, and these people only have so much to live. And it cuts to the people of South Park, and they realize they're on TV, so they're all like, whoa, we're on TV!
Right. Yes. Instead of being like upset or anything, they're just more excited about the camera.
Yeah. It seems about right. And the mayor doesn't realize it's live because she keeps trying to do a take of being concerned, and she's like, wait, let me try that again. And I love that the reporter doesn't correct her or say, like, we're live. He just lets her do it.
He's, like, confused by that. Like, wait, what are you talking about?
But they have to come up with a plan because they know the kids and Jimbo and Ned are on the mountain. So they send a rescue squad to the mountain. And at the same time, they decide they have to plan for how to save the town because the volcano is coming.
Right.
Then we go back to the hunting party, and they observe that there's not a lot of animals out, which makes sense because the animals all are getting the hell away from the mountain because they realize what's about to happen. And they take out a ram. This is where Kenny shoots the ram. I've got it in my notes. And Cartman shows up as Scuzzlebutt. From a distance, they can't tell it's him, which is really stupid because it's just Cartman with, like, a piece of celery.
He's got, like, a burlap bag over his face.
I figured it was his sleeping bag.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
That he cut holes in his sleeping bag, which would make sense why he can't take it off right away either, because he's probably stuck in it.
Right.
Because otherwise it makes no sense that he can't take it off, because she could just take, pull it off of his head.
Just take it off. Like, what are you doing?
But they decide, there's the real Scuzzlebutt, and they decide to kill him. And they take out
questions later.
Yeah, exactly. And they take out this giant thing is on Jimbo's shoulders.
Rocket launcher.
It's very cartoony.
Yeah.
Cartman dives out of the way. I do love the effects on the explosion. It's so like stop motion, like a cutout of an explosion is all you kind of see. It's pretty good. But they start chasing him down, and Randy makes a plan. In the meantime, to make a trench, and it will divert the lava
great idea.
Around South Park, which of course would work, right?
Of course it would, yeah. You just dig a hole and the lava goes directly into that hole instead of just going everywhere. It doesn't burst from the top either. There wouldn't just be like ash and debris and any of that. It's just gonna pour slowly out. It's totally fine.
And they said that it seemed stupid enough that they were saying because of the movies that came out that summer with Volcano and Dante's Peak, they were like, well, it seemed dumb enough to fit into those movies, so just build a trench, and that will just take care of the problem.
If we can force the volcano to divert the path of the lava.
A note on this, too. Randy is based on Trey's dad, who was a geologist in Colorado. Worked for the Colorado Geological Survey or whatever it's called.
Oh, neat. Okay.
He's not like the Randy of today. I think the Randy of today is cartoonish and probably more Trey, but the Randy of then was supposed to be more laid back and nothing like kind of got to him and just
kind of laid back dopey dad.
Yeah, and that's why he takes the sip of coffee and is like, I think I've got a plan here, Mr. Mayor, if we just
which is like kind of a fun character, and it's so weird now to put them
so different
side by
than
side
Randy now.
It's so weird.
Yeah, because Randy now would have been freaking out and would have been like, Stan, we have to get out of here, Stan, the volcano is coming. Yeah
Yes,
I love that. While they're in the middle of chasing down Cartman, a bald eagle comes into Jimbo's purview, and he just shouts, "Bird!" mid-sentence and shoots at the bird.
I'll bet that sucker's headed for a higher elevation. The higher up it... Bird! The higher up it goes, the better it can breathe.
Cartman can't get out of the costume, and Stan says he will kill Scuzzlebutt to earn Jimbo's pride.
That's right.
In the meantime, the town is getting a training session about what to do in the act of a volcano, which we played for you earlier. And it's simply to duck and cover. So
it's just like the nuclear videos.
Yes.
It's the duck and cover for the nuclear blast, but this is for a volcano instead.
Yes. I think it's still pretty infamous, those videos, right?
The duck and covers?
Yeah.
I would think so.
I think you can find them on YouTube. It was... So for those of you that do not know, or for those of you that are not in the U.S., although I have no idea what kind of
do you think
preparedness
there was some sort of
the rest of the world was doing during the Cold War? I assume the whole world had to, because you picked a side back then.
Wasn't it kind of we're going to tell you to duck and cover to make you feel better, but...
I think it was more that it was supposed to be...
We don't actually think it's going to help.
I think it was supposed to be more that for...
Just morale.
No. I think it was more the range for if it caused shrapnel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think that's more for what it was for. If you were in the area where stuff was going to blow down around you, like a tornado or something. Yeah, because
it would be like the school kids. You go under your desk, duck and cover.
Yeah. People make fun of it now because if it was... an actual nuclear blast, that wasn't going to do anything. It's not
going to do anything.
But I think, and people make fun of it for the idea of like, oh yeah, we thought that was going to work. I don't think that people back then thought it was going to work if you were too close.
I really think it was, some of it might have been it'll be fine, just duck and cover, cover your neck, like they do with tornadoes. You cover the back of your neck, you get down, and... you just make sure nothing hits you. They're not going to tell you about the radiation poisoning you're going to get, but let's just tell you about that part of it first. And if you're too close, you're going to just get burned up from everything. It's crazy to think that, what would you do? Honestly.
Well,
if that
how far away am
what would you do? You have to get as low and as deep into the ground as you can, and you're going to stay there for 2 days before you can leave.
Yes. That's right.
At least.
Is this another?
Which is actually true.
No, it is. It is. You can leave it. Yeah, you can leave. You don't have to be in the shelter forever, but you'd have to get very, very far down. No, but you have to stay
there and you have to stay there for a certain amount of time, and I think it's 2 days or longer.
Which is why it's probably
before you can come back up to find help and get away as fast as you can.
It's probably easier to be just in the. Before, like, the flash point, where you wouldn't even feel it.
Oh, I don't know. But, yeah, so this is
no, I think
tornadoes, nuclear blasts,
I do think, though, that it was supposed
all the
to
same,
be...
duck and cover.
It was supposed to be more like, if you couldn't evacuate the area, you were just supposed to do whatever you could.
Protect yourself. Just protect yourself and hope for the best.
As a countermeasure to the lethal effects of nuclear explosions,
Oh,
duck
look
and
it up.
cover is effective in both the event of a surprise nuclear attack and during a nuclear attack of which the public has received some warning, which would likely be about a few minutes. It's if you're outside the radius of a fireball, but still within sufficient range that standing upright and uncovered is likely to cause serious injury. So anyway, they show the South Park citizens what to do in this event. And when it's over, I love that Chef is like, are we supposed to really believe that pig crap? And Barbary shuts him down, does not want to hear that. It's not going to work. Back on the mountain, Stan has Cartman in his sights, but he just can't do it. He doesn't want to kill anything.
Right.
And Jimbo calls him a pansy, and Cartman finally gets the sheet over his head and reveals himself, or the sleeping bag or whatever it is, and reveals himself.
Yep.
But Cartman has gotten higher and higher onto the mountain at this point because he's trying to run away, and that was the direction he was headed.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, the volcano goes off and starts throwing lava balls at them.
Sure.
And they're close enough to the top that one ends up... So it falls in front of Kenny, I think, is what happens.
Right. I think it looks like it smashes him from their perspective, but it just falls in front of him.
And then... So they're about to do the oh my god... And then, oh, no, he's okay. But Kenny's too close to the lava ball. And I think this would actually happen to you if you were this close to an active...
From the heat?
Yeah, it sets him on fire.
It does. And then it rolls on
And
top.
then it just rolls on top of him. But he's okay, too. He doesn't actually die. We find out later that he's actually okay.
Right.
I can't remember how he got out of that, but he's okay.
Probably
So the lava is coming right for them, Jimbo says. But as they come down, they end up on the wrong side of the trench that was built. So now they're stuck on the side where there could be some lava outflow. And they don't know what to do. They're screwed. And Jimbo apologizes to the boys that he's led them to their death. But as they're contemplating their own death, the real Scuzzlebutt shows up.
Yes. As in, this is Scuzzlebutt.
And he
celery
looks,
arm.
Well, he's got his celery arm. Patrick Duffy's on his leg.
Yep.
And he looks like Rachel described, a Bigfoot.
Yes.
He's got more of like a Wolverine head, though.
Yeah, he does have like a Wolverine head. You're right.
And
That's
not
a good way to
Logan,
explain
but like
it.
a real Wolverine.
Right. The animal. The actual animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The animal. Yeah, it's a real thing. So Ned goes to shoot Scuzzlebutt, but he's out of ammo, and they aren't sure what Scuzzlebutt is going to do. And I love that Garrison and Chef both know about Scuzzlebutt. They're like, oh yeah, that's Scuzzlebutt.
Yes.
He makes weaves baskets in the woods.
Which is probably maybe this is where Cartman heard it.
It's possible.
It was from Mr. Garrison.
I
or
could see
Chef.
Mr. Garrison going off about Scuzzlebutt one day in the classroom and
yeah.
none of them paying attention, but it just synced
But Cartman's
into
like,
Cartman.
it's like actually listening, like, huh, this is interesting.
So Bar Brady's like, okay, people, nothing to see here. Which I can't remember if he did that in Cartman Gets an Anal Probe, but that might be his first time doing that. That's his recurring bit.
Oh, yeah.
And Scuzzlebutt breaks a tree down, weaves them a basket, and uses a tree stump or log.
It's either the trunk or it's the branch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably the trunk because he had to use it
'Cause
to
it's a lot
carry
bigger.
all of them over. Yeah, he uses the trunk to carry them over and take them across the trench. And the canyon plan worked because the lava just destroys Denver instead of South Park.
Yeah, which is fine. No big deal.
Yeah, nobody cares about Denver. The Broncos, nobody cares about the Broncos. This is where we find out that Kenny's actually okay, and Chef sings a song about hot lava, which is an actual song. Isaac Hayes recorded an actual full-length song
Oh, that's
for this
great.
of hot lava. I want to know who writes them. I would assume Trey is writing these songs and then Isaac Hayes is interpreting them, but I'd like
how to sing it? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, here, I have the lyrics, can you sing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
I would assume.
I don't know if I've ever heard about how they come up with.
He probably understands how Isaac Hayes sings too, though.
That's true.
So
they're
he
doing
knows,
a
like, the
parody
lyrics.
of that.
He's doing it for him,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he knows.
And Scuzzlebutt offers the mayor flowers because the mayor is saying that he's obviously a misunderstood creature. He's not a bloodthirsty monster. He's
Right.
just a I'm just a creature that lives in the woods and weaves baskets.
Yeah, no big deal.
But before they can truly thank Scuzzlebutt, Stan shoots him in the head.
Oh my god.
And kills him.
So
And he's like,
awful.
I finally did it. I got one. I did it. And he's like, it wasn't even that hard. And Jimbo tells him that he shouldn't shoot things because this is what Jimbo learned. Jimbo learned something today.
Right, Jimbo learned something.
Some things you should kill and some things you shouldn't. Kyle and Stan are like, dude, make up your mind. What is it? Like,
right.
They don't understand. Ned understands that the problem of hunting, and he'll never pick up a gun again, and he drops the gun.
I'd love to know. Oh yeah, it goes off and it kills Kenny.
It kills Kenny. Yeah, go ahead.
I would love to know though. Does he ever pick up a gun again?
I guarantee
South
you,
Park?
in the next episode, he probably has.
I'm like curious because maybe Jimbo does, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't touch guns anymore.
We'll find out.
I kind of feel like I need to know.
Yeah, we'll find out. Because, I mean, Jimbo and Ned kind of go away. They're not used a lot anymore.
Oh, yeah, sure.
We'll find out in the rest of this season, because they're in a lot of it, if they ever have guns again. I don't know if they ever go hunting again, so maybe not, but we'll see. But the boys do not understand the message at all. They're like, it's too confusing. They don't like hunting anyway, so they decide they're not going to go hunting anymore, and they're going to go watch cartoons again, because as Cartman says, Rachel...
Cartoons kick ass?
Cartoons kick ass.
Cartoons kick ass. I can't do a Cartman voice. I can do the high-pitched, whiny Cartman voice.
Cartman. I can't do Cartman either, but there's a kid at school that kind of talks like Cartman, so I kind of do it. Well, because at this point, Cartman talks a little more like this. He's got a little more dad.
Make your tongue as big as your mouth, and then
it's not until like the third or fourth season where he gets the like, hey, Cartman. But at this point, it's a little more like this. And that's the end of the episode. So, Rachel, what did you learn today from Volcano?
That not all monsters are actually monsters. And they may just want a friend. And now they're dead, so you never know if there's actually... Do you think he has a family out there in the woods?
It's possible, yeah.
I'm wondering if Scuzzlebutt had a family and now he's dead.
Maybe they could do a sequel to Scuzzlebutt. The Scuzzlebutt family. Like the Jackophsaurs. We're out there.
Yeah, those are weird.
Maybe they could find more Scuzzlebutts. What did you think of the episode?
I liked this one. I don't know why. There's just something about the tone of this one that's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy things happen in it as well. So it's kind of interesting. Especially with, like, you get more characters and stuff, too. Yeah.
I remember this one being fun, like, in my nostalgia brain. And then going back and watching it, it held up for me. It's happily surprised at this one holding up because I think it's a highlight of the young show. It's got a lot of good jokes. It's got good one-liners. It's a lot of absurd crap in it. There's good satire in it. Mm-hmm. Good commentary. It makes for the first like purely funny episode for me.
I think so. I like that. That makes sense. Did you learn anything from this one? I didn't get to ask you.
I learned proper volcano safety.
I like that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
It. Make sure duck and cover.
Yeah. So it's simple. It's simple.
It just goes straight over you.
Yours was definitely more philosophical.
Thank you.
But in a very literal sense. Folks, I want to know what you learned from each time we do a South Park episode. Not necessarily the shortcuts, but just the general longer cuts of the South Park episodes. What did you learn? Let us know. What made you a better person? How are you going to step away from our episodes of Shelf Life as better people? One thing to note about this episode, it was nominated for an Environmental Media Award.
Really?
Which makes sense because
they're saying they're going against.
It's satirizing big game hunting and hunting endangered animals, and using the wrong type of inhumane ways to hunt animals as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I totally get that. It lost to The Simpsons.
Which episode?
The Old Man and the Lisa. When Lisa is trying to get Mr. Burns to be more green. And then they have the little Lisa slurry. Right. That stuff, yeah.
Yes.
Which goes back to us talking about the dolphins getting caught in the net, actually. So it all spins around. So anyway, that is Volcano. It's a good episode. When we come back, the first important episode of South Park.
Okay.
Quote unquote.
All right. Interesting.
When we come back, it is Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride.
Hello everyone, and welcome aboard the Big Gay Boat Ride. On this adventure, we'll be seeing the world of gayness throughout time. You see, gayness has existed since the beginning of time. From the Egyptian pharaohs to the shoguns of Japan. Uh-oh, look out, it's the oppressors. Christians and Republicans and Nazis, oh my. Oh gosh, that was close. Okay, let's steer our big gay boat out of here and into a place where gays are allowed to live freely.
We're all gay and it's okay, 'cause gay means happy and happy means gay. We're not sad anymore 'cause we're out the closet door. It's okay to be gay.
And we're back with another episode of South Park Season 1, episode number 4. It aired on September 3rd, 1997, and it is called Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. Rachel, you want to explain to the people what happens in this episode of South Park?
It's mainly about how being gay is okay. And it actually talks about, I guess, in an obvious form, it is about gay animals being taken to, well, finding Big Gay Al out in, like, the woods, and he has, like, a sanctuary for them.
See, I disagree.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to explain
I
this one,
disagree.
Kevin.
I believe it's a story about the homecoming football game between South Park and Middle Park, and Stan having to cover the spread. But I guess we just watched it two different ways. Whatever. I don't know why it's called Big Gay. Like, was there a gay person in it? I didn't see that at all.
Oh, I mean,
yeah. I don't see gay.
Everybody's
Rachel.
the same. Oh, don't start. That's not the right way to see it.
You know how, like, people say they don't see color?
I know, and that's, like, wrong.
I've never really known what that means either, but okay.
Well, that's why it's stupid. I don't see color. Uh-huh.
The fireside chat that you get on the DVD, nothing really there. They said that, I can't remember if it was Trey or Matt, one of them says that America has a preoccupation with gayness, but they never explored animal homosexuality, so they decided to do it in this episode. And the interviewer asks if they are gay, and they say, well, I guess we're all a little gay. And then they ask why Kenny has to die all the time, and they say because he's poor. Which makes sense.
Sure, I guess.
That's why.
There it is.
This is
now we know.
Considered probably one of the most famous episodes from season 1 of South Park. I think this is one of those episodes that put it on the map. And okay. I think it's one of those episodes that showed that they could have something to say that could be more than just their humor of killing off Kenny and having little kids say swear words. And at least right. I think that's the idea anyway. The strange part about it is you watch it today, and although that there are definitely still areas, at least in the United States, that you could say this is still outrageous and extreme, but it's so quaint and almost stereotypical of it's definitely not like saying like, oh my god, there's gay things on screen.
Right.
But I guess in 1997 that was kind of the idea, that it was still like in your face outrageous.
I think it is. Because a lot of shows and everything would shy away from gayness or make fun of it more so. And they wouldn't even none of the main characters. Nowadays there's some, but back then it was
sometimes
no main characters can be gay.
I mean, it just depends on right. everything and how everything is portrayed.
Right, exactly. Or it's portrayed in very negative light.
Sure. You look at it now and you look at the reaction that this show had, and I know that it stays in people's minds from season 1 just because of what it is or the reaction that people had. This was one of those episodes that was controversial because of this content, or it was something that people hadn't seen on TV a lot. I will get to Big Gay Al. He is a big gay stereotype.
Oh yeah, but he's fantastic. I love him.
And it's the way that South Park is going to do everything. They're not gonna just. I mean, they're not.
It's not subtle. Nothing they do is subtle. It's the extreme version of that person.
And they're trying to
idea.
Yeah, they're trying to be entertaining and joking and saying different things, they're clearly trying to say, why does anybody give a shit?
This is normal.
It's something that men and animal have done forever.
It's true.
Who cares?
Yes.
And
so why does it matter to you?
You see this in some of the reviews for this episode where they say this is the first time that you saw that this episode could be, or this television show could be sweet and funny and over the top and gross. And I think that's
all
why...
at the same time.
Yeah, all at the same time. The Colorado for Family Values group, which is a Christian group they lobby against homosexuality, used this episode to try to censor the movie from being distributed in Colorado because they warned that the episode taught children, quote, tolerance and acceptance of homosexuality through the perverse idea that Stan's dog is a homosexual dog.
Yes, because, let's preach tolerance and understanding. Thank you. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah. And that's the problem. Well, I'm not going to get into it because it gets
I don't know if we should get into it, but... but that is the problem with people.
There are certain people that should shut the fuck up.
I agree.
So anyway, the other famous part about this episode before we get into it is that Sparky the dog, Stan's dog, which I don't know if he ever actually comes back or not. He doesn't come back a lot.
I don't think he does.
I don't know if we ever...
Or maybe he's just in the corner
Yeah, we don't see Sparky a lot. He's not a Santa's little helper. He's there for most of the series.
When they need a dog.
Maybe he just goes and hangs out at the big gay sanctuary sometimes. I don't know.
Right.
Sparky is played by George Clooney. So if you...
Wait, you're kidding?
Yeah, he's George... It's in the credits. George Clooney as Sparky the dog. And
I did not realize that Sparky was played by a human.
Yeah, the joke of it, of course, is that this would have been right after Clooney played Batman. So he's a big-time movie star now. He was the big TV star at the time.
Sure.
They got this guy to just play a gay dog. And not have any lines or anything. He's just going... and that's all he's doing.
I did not know they did that. I love it. It's like how What's-His-Face plays Groot in those kinds of characters. Yeah. I love that.
And Comedy Central was a little bit worried because they got George Clooney to do this, but they were advertising that he was playing a dog. So they thought, oh man, that's stupid. But I think, it's still dumb. It's such a dumb thing that's the joke, that he's just playing a dog. But I get why... The idea of we're being counterculture, we're fuck you celebrities culture. We're gonna make one of your biggest stars or your biggest emerging stars at the time
into a dog.
Play a dog, and he's not gonna. He doesn't have any lines. He's not a talking dog.
Not a talking
he's just
dog.
A dog.
No.
And if you remember from our first part of the history of South Park, George Clooney was instrumental in getting Spirit of Christmas to go viral because he spread it to a lot of people in Hollywood when he got a hold of it. And that's how it started becoming viral. So they kind of thank George Clooney. They make fun of George Clooney later in the series. Don't worry about that. They do. I think this is their way of thanking him a bit for it.
Sure.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's get through the walkthrough of Big Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. It starts with the boys waiting to get to football practice. They're waiting for the bus to get to school to go to football practice. And Sparky, Stan's new dog, they say that they got a new dog recently. He shows up. I would say I cannot remember what he's a mix of, but it's like a big dog. It's supposed to be a big dog.
Some sort of terrier mix.
Yeah.
Because that face, it looks like some sort of... I'm trying to think of the exact breed that I'm thinking of.
I thought Stan says what he's a mix of, but I cannot remember.
Does he say?
I thought he does when he tells him that he's the toughest dog.
No, I think it's a joke. It's not... Well, he doesn't say actual breeds, though.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Okay.
I think he's... part Doberman and part wolf is what Stan
which
says.
Is definitely...
He does not look like a Doberman at all.
Nor does he look like a wolf. He looks like a pit or some kind of mastiff-looking dog.
Yeah, he's got a small snout, which makes me think some type of a bull terrier, maybe? Or Boston Terrier type of breed.
Yeah, they say it's according to Stan, but it's definitely not that. He's definitely not that. I think Stan is just saying that because he wants a tough dog.
Yeah, the toughest dog.
Yeah,
he's
he
a
wants the
wolf
toughest
and a
dog.
Doberman,
Yeah.
and it's like,
So
okay.
he's coming up with like the two things that he thinks are really tough that he knows are canines: a wolf and a Doberman.
Right.
Cartman's like, there's no way that he's the toughest dog because nobody's tougher than Sylvester in South Park. And they point to this mutt, this stupid-looking stray mutt, and he's the toughest dog in South Park. So Cartman calls over Sylvester. I do love that.
Who looks like a coyote that's gone like rabid.
Yeah, he's a feral animal for sure. I love that in South Park too. They all named this dog Sylvester. The town just has this stray named Sylvester. And you can just call him over and he comes. Right. I know that there's places around the world where there are a lot of stray dogs and they kind of become like the city mascots and stuff.
Sure. A lot of stray cats, stray dogs, stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess that's kind of what this is. And Cartman calls him over because they want the dogs to fight so that Stan's dog, can prove that he's the toughest or whatever. And Sparky doesn't kick his ass, but he's definitely doing something to his ass.
Yep.
That
is correct.
Conclusion that the boys come to. I remember as a kid not knowing what that
Quite
meant.
understanding the amount that happened.
No. Yeah. I know that it was something funny, but I don't think I knew. Like, I can vaguely remember, like, a family gatherings. Older, like teenage cousins or something, like, putting this on TV to get, like, Dad to laugh at it.
Sure.
Like, I don't...
Because there's always the joke about dogs humping legs, so
yeah.
that's probably a part of it, at least.
Now, I will say this, because Stan has to learn that Sparky being gay is okay, but Sparky is not acting in consent with Sylvester.
I mean, kind of, maybe. Sylvester turned around. Maybe Sylvester liked it and wanted it. We don't know.
Sylvester's yipping and yapping after this. I don't know if he expected that.
Well, I guess maybe. Maybe it
Sparky's
was
a bit
his
problematic.
way of showing dominance.
It's a little problematic.
Oof. Okay. I hope not. I wanted Sparky to be a good dog.
Well, it's dogs. They just do that sort of thing on the street. That's how they act. Sparky just thought that he was fulfilling his end of the duty, not realizing that the other dog was not necessarily into it. The boys are in shock, and Cartman says that Sparky is clearly gay, and this is the first instance of Stan having to deny and not really accept that Sparky is gay.
Right.
At practice, Chef tells the boys that the homecoming game against Middle Park, and the boys are like, what is homecoming? Like, because he's trying to be like, I know it's a big deal for you kids, and they're like, what does that even mean? They have no concept of it.
We just play a game.
And he tells the boys...
But them playing football, like, they're playing actual football. It's not even flag football, is it? Because they don't have flags around their waists or anything.
Okay, this is 1997. You get a concussion, who fucking cares? Who gives a shit?
I guess.
Get your ass back out there. So kids didn't have to play...
But they're like under 10.
It doesn't matter. They have to start learning the techniques, Rachel. How else are they going to learn how to run a zone blocking scheme? How do you think Billy Bob became as good as he did in Varsity Blues? He needed to learn how to block as a little kid. That Cartman would have been a fantastic offensive lineman, I think, by now.
I think all I remember, though, is that football is like making love to a woman, though.
That's right. You don't always score.
That's all I need to remember.
You don't always score, but when you do, it's worth it. That's what... Words to live by, friends. Words to live by. And then poor Pip doesn't have a helmet. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. That Pip...
Like, Chef is so annoyed with Pip, too. Like, so annoyed with Pip. Like, oh my god, no, I'm not getting you a stupid helmet. Go away.
I don't remember a lot about Pip from this season, and we'll learn more as we go through it. I can't remember if everyone is annoyed with Pip, because he's just this annoying little British kid that's the foreign exchange student.
I guess, maybe.
But Chef truly does not want Pip to...
No, he does not like Pip. He's like, don't even talk to me, kid, go away.
The hut joke here, I love this joke as a gigantic football fan. And it's just funny how long it goes. Because Stan is behind center and he won't hike the ball. He just kept saying, hut, 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 hut. And eventually Chef is like, just hike the damn ball.
It's great.
I thought
It's
that was
great.
really good.
It does feel that way all the time, though, too. That just feels realistic to me.
You think that quarterbacks are taking too long to hike?
Maybe.
Well, they got to
At
read.
least they used to.
They got to read the defenses.
True.
You can't just get up there and hike without reading the defense. The good quarterbacks.
I feel like they do it though too to take them off guard, so they don't know when he's gonna hike.
Well, yeah.
So they kind of hut and then hike at some random time.
Right. That's also part of the gimmick too. Hike on 3
gotcha.
or whatever. You actually don't say hike in the NFL. I don't know if college football say it.
You go hut hut,
Folks, let me know.
and then that's it.
Yeah, you just go hut hut, and it's usually 3 huts would be the default longest. So it's 1, 2, or 3. We're gonna hike on 1, hike on 2, but then if you throw in there like a hot route or an audible or something like that, or your ID something on the defense, then you can restart your cadence of hut hut again.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's when they all move in to different positions. Right. And all
See, we're teaching you not only about tolerance of homosexuality here on Big Gale's Big A Boat Ride episode, we're also teaching you the intricacies of pre-snap audibles in the game of football. For our international listeners that might not have known what the hell was going on.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, like, not soccer. Not actual playing
No,
with
real
your
football.
football.
American
football. This is American
Red, white,
football.
and blue, hot dogs and hamburger fucking football.
Pig skin.
That's right. Pig skin. You goddamn right. Pip immediately also, after the hike happens, gets headbutted and he starts bleeding. I thought that was great too. I started laughing. So Jimbo and Ned come along and they're asking what do you think the chances are of the cows, because they're the South Park cows. Chef's like, oh, I don't know, what's the spread? They first are asking about homecoming because Chef's like, you come to the homecoming for the elementary school game? And Jimbo goes, well, most of us all only made it through elementary school.
It's a small town, right?
Well,
they need something
small,
to go see.
Small, white bread mountain town.
Close-knit.
They are 70-point underdogs. So the chef's like, I don't know if they're going to cover the spread. Which, again, for listeners that don't know football or international listeners, 70 points is an impossible feat. Very, 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 very rarely in the history of football does anybody ever hit 70 points. So it's a ridiculous spread. And Jimbo and Ned are going to the bookies to gamble on it.
Of course.
Sparky shows up at football practice. So Stan is happy because he thinks this shows that his dog is really smart because he was able to follow him to football practice. And I guess it does. Like, he tracked Stan's scent all the way to the school. That's what it means, right?
Right.
And Clyde is like, oh, big deal, my dog follows me all the time. And Stan tries to reiterate that Sparky is still smarter because Clyde is implying that the dog just follows him as he walks. And Stan's like, no, he had to, track me.
Right, I was on the school bus. Like, we didn't actually walk together or any of that.
There's an underlying theme here, and I don't know if this is intentional by Trey and Matt. It's, again, one of these things that it's a parent-child relationship or a sibling relationship or whatever, where Stan is trying desperately to make it so that his dog is better than the other dogs.
I think that's just a kid thing, though, too.
Where, like, you have to have the best.
You always want to be the best.
Yeah, but...
Yes.
And I can agree with that. I think that the lesson could be to accept your loved one for who they are. Right. I don't know if that's intentional. Oh, yeah. I just think that that's underlying in here, not just with Sparky being gay, but also Stan trying to say, like, no, he's the toughest, he's the smartest. He's trying to so desperately to have that be a thing where it's like, do you love the dog?
Well, he could still be the toughest and the smartest.
Yeah, no, he could.
But also be gay.
And I think that's also part of it, too, where even being the smartest or toughest dog, because maybe Sparky could have known that Sylvester was tougher than him, and he was like, I'm just going to hump him, and he's going to walk away from this because he doesn't...
Okay.
Immediately, Sparky sees this other dog, and he... I wrote down that he kind of rapes him, but he humps him.
You really want to say he's a bad dog.
I'm not saying he's a bad dog. Dogs just hump other dogs sometimes. You have to get them to not do that.
That's true. Well, they hump everything. Some dogs do hump everything, especially if they're, like, not fixed or any of that. Yeah. So
Yeah, he does have to be trained not to hump things.
Right. He's just a prepubescent boy. He humps everything.
The yips are funny, and seeing Clyde's dog kind of like with the tail tucked between his legs and yipping like because he doesn't know what happened to him is kind of funny. Cartman says to Clyde, because Clyde's like, what is he doing to him? And Cartman goes, you see, Stan here forgot to mention that his dog is a gay homosexual. I like that he says gay homosexual.
Well, like, Cartman doesn't seem to be saying any of it in, like, a negative way either. He's just like, your dog's gay.
Yeah, well,
he's not going like, your dog's totally gay.
I think he's
like,
he's kind of saying it's bad, but I think he's more just he's saying it to get under Stan's skin.
It's like a matter of fact.
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
realizes
no,
that
Stan's
he
gay.
can antagonize Stan by saying it, so I think that's why he's doing it.
I guess that's true. But then these two bullies come
I
by.
love these kids. They should bring these guys back. Where they're like, oh,
stupid bully kids.
It's a gay dog. I think a dog's totally gay.
What is that?
I like it.
So
because it's just,
dumb.
they're these just dumb mouth breathers that are just...
Stupid bullies.
Well, we lived in a time, I don't know, but maybe by the time that you were in high school, Rachel, was different. Kids would use the term gay to mean lame.
Yeah.
And I think there was...
It was always used as lame.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like a, maybe we shouldn't.
There was... See, I don't remember if there was a pejorative against, if it had anything to do with homosexuality.
With being gay?
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't remember.
I think it always did mean lame when you were talking.
There's an episode of South Park
then.
about that way further down the line that I think talks about that too.
Sure. So it's just,
and there's
it's one of
a
those
bit by
things.
Michael Scott about that too. I think. Which we'll get to.
Tie it all together.
Yeah. So in the classroom, Cartman gives a speech, but he's supposed to be giving a report about Asian culture in some way, but he's doing it about a television show of some kind, so he gets a D-. And then Garrison tells Stan it's his turn to report, and Stan admits that he's not prepared to do it. And Mr. Garrison goes, well, just make it up like Eric did, who cares? So the subtle joke about this is Stan doesn't really know what to say, so he just goes, Asian culture has been bad for us for a long time, and it needs to be stopped. Something up to that nature. And Garrison stops him and goes, okay, great, Stan, A-. And they do the bit of, because Stan is the star quarterback, we need to treat athletes better because they're better people. Because they're athletes and they're stars.
So stupid. Such a dumb thing.
I disagree, Rachel. I think that it's something that absolutely needs to happen. We should treat athletes better because they clearly are better people.
Is this a bit?
Yes. Clearly it's a bit.
No, I know.
No, I agree. We do have to say that because people on the internet are stupid and they can't tell that we're...
And they might think you're really
that we're doing bits.
On that one.
And these are not... A disclaimer, none of our opinions are our own. We're doing bits. We're entertaining. We're trying to.
Yeah, we're trying to be entertaining. I don't know if it's actually working. Someone's entertained. Be entertained, damn it.
God damn it! So, after class...
Yeah, but I did see in school.
The athletes
where they would treat the athletes better.
Mom told us that one story about seeing the athletes get treated better, but I'm assuming I did too. I just never paid attention.
In high school, yes, and also in college.
In college too?
They treated them differently.
You went to a smaller school though. Did they really have?
And they liked the baseball team is the one that they loved them. Oh my god, did they get away with stuff
in class?
Yeah. Huh. And out of class.
Well, I assume out of class. Like, we know that that's a problem at universities across the country, but I meant more like in class, like they're getting A- for...
Well, honestly, I don't think they really took a lot of classes I took.
That's what I was saying. Like, I'm surprised that, like, yeah, so
some of them did, and then some of them were actually, like, intelligent people who deserved the grades, and then some of them decidedly took classes that were like pass.
Yeah, they get some major that doesn't matter. I was going to say a dumb major, but I don't want to say that. Stan goes to Garrison, and he asks Garrison what a homosexual is. Stan doesn't really understand what that means when Cartman is saying, you know, your dog's a gay homosexual or whatever.
Right.
So Garrison is like, oh, you came to the right place, Stanley. And he takes his glasses off, and you think that you're going to get a serious discussion. And he goes, you see, Stan...
What's a homosexual?
Oh, well, Stanley, I guess you came to the right person. Sit down. Stanley, gay people are evil. Evil right down to their cold black hearts, which pump not blood like yours and mine, but rather a thick, vomitous oil that oozes through their rotten veins and clots in their pea-sized brains, which becomes the cause of their Nazi-esque patterns of violent behavior. Do you understand?
I guess.
Good, I'm glad we could have this little talk, Stanley. Now you go outside and practice football like a good little heterosexual.
I guarantee there's some places that still think this way 25 years later.
Probably.
But it is supposed to be like how stupid people are that they think that way. And then I like when Garrison tells Stan to leave, he just goes, go practice football like a good heterosexual.
That is a good line. I like that one.
And there are gay pro football players, of course.
Of course.
There's
gay people everywhere.
There's a few that are out, as they say. But right. There's got to be more that are not, just from sheer numbers.
I would assume so.
And I know that like there's probably certain professions that have a higher percentage and a lower percentage too, like compared to the general public. Sure. I assume.
Well, it's just like how like just going like with male and female, quote unquote, again, type professions as well. A lot of things are heavy one way
nurse.
Or right. Or how, like, a lot of tech industry is mainly masculine,
right?
Thought of, right? Or how veterinarians actually has now swapped to being mostly women. Or feminine. Females or, like, women are going into STEM, which is pretty cool. I do like that. You know, people can actually, like, broaden what they do and aren't being, like, forced into something else.
On the way home, Sparky finds them again. This time, he's wearing a pink scarf, like a pink bandana.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
An ascot, or is it a mad bandana?
I guess it's kind of an ascot. I mean, Big Gay Al later on is wearing an ascot, so I guess that's what
an ascot.
This is supposed to be. But it looks like a dog bandana.
It just looks like a bandana.
And this is, again, where Sparky proves that he's smart, because he can shake hands and he can sit. And I love Stan going, don't be gay. Don't be gay, Sparky. And Sparky does he does the head tilt.
Uh-huh.
It's illustrative of somebody being, well, then just don't be gay. Like telling somebody just, this is the start of that other message of like,
just don't be gay.
Just don't be gay. Of telling somebody to do that when it's their
which is stupid
biological nature.
It's like, well, I really can't, but cool.
And the bully kids pass by again, and they say,
the stupid bully kids.
They call him a gay dog again. I think they tell him to go to the Pride Parade or something.
Yeah, they say
that.
something about a Pride March, which is like, you know what? I hope Sparky gets to go to a Pride March and gets all dressed up and
I do too.
Gets to have a good time.
Yeah, why not?
You know, fun those things look.
Jimbo is at the bookies, and he puts $500 on the cows to cover. And a bunch of people also put the money on it because Jimbo is like, my nephew Stan is going to lead the cows to victory, meaning they're going to lose by less than 70 points. And everyone starts putting their money on it. And Jimbo's like, oh boy, we might be screwed now because a bunch of people want to bet on it. And now he's responsible if something happens. So he knows that he needs to have a backup plan just in case. And the bartender tells them, a fake celebrity in this case, John Stamos' older brother, Richard Stamos, is singing Loving You at the halftime show. Yeah, lesser known because he doesn't exist. Apparently John Stamos thought it was funny. I love
that he thought it was funny. No, that's even better.
And Jimbo comes up with a plan for what to do, knowing that the Loving You is going to be sung at the halftime show. The boys decide to try to convince Sparky to be straight.
Right.
So they have a plan for him. He's got the pink bandana again, and Stan's
so
like,
cute.
You keep getting this. It, like, takes it away from him.
You know, I'm wondering if one of the other boys are putting it on him just to mess with Stan more.
Well, if it would be anybody, it would be Kenny or Cartman, and I feel like Cartman's not smart enough to do it.
Yeah, I bet it's Kenny.
Or
I would think I could see that happening.
Or Sparky keeps giving the bandana to Kyle to put it on him, because I could see Kyle putting it back
Kyle would
on
just
him.
put, like, oh, do you want this?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he would put it on, yeah.
So the boys got a poodle to try to get Sparky not be gay, because they're like, well, if Sparky likes to hump things, then we'll just get this poodle and he'll hump it, and he'll realize that it's, oh, maybe he likes the...
likes anything at that point, yeah. Right. He just humps things. Is he gay, or is he, like, actually... It's like, I don't know what... This experiment is kind of interesting.
Sparky pushes the poodle down, and they're like, yeah, he's gonna hump it. And instead, he just takes her collar, because she's got, like, a diamondy, blingy collar.
It's like a blingy collar.
Stan
So actually, considering he puts it on himself... Maybe he is putting the bandanas on.
Yeah, that's true, because he does flip it on.
He might be really good at it, yeah.
You gotta tie that bandana, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's a smart dog, so who knows?
He is very smart.
Stan is mad, and Kyle says, dude, who cares if he's gay? Maybe it doesn't matter.
Who cares if your dog is gay? Maybe it's not that bad.
No way, dude. My mom says God hates gay people. That's why he smote the sodomies in France.
I know, Mr. Garrison said that homosexuals are evil, but Sparky doesn't seem evil. Well, maybe Mr. Garrison is wrong. You should ask somebody else. Like who?
Right.
And
if Sparky's gay...
There's your lesson, kids.
I don't understand.
And we get our... Again, let's take heed of Martin Luther King's... Don't judge... A person isn't an asshole because of what they are. A person is an asshole because of who they are. We have to judge people by their character. So Stan is looking back to the story. Stan is looking to try to get some answers, and he decides to go to Jesus.
And we know in South Park you can actually talk to Jesus Christ.
You can literally talk to Jesus. This is one of my favorite parts of the early seasons, is that Jesus has a local public access show called Jesus and Pals.
Yes, it's great.
I love it. And it's basically a call-in show. So for our younger listeners, or our folks that don't have public access or have no idea what the fuck this is, there used to be, and there probably still is, on local TV stations, you'd have these weird shows where you'd have, like, local celebrities that would tell you about different things going on in the town, or, you know, maybe they're doing interviews with the city council or something like that. And there could also be call-in shows like this, where somebody could call in for advice and things like that. Or regional shows, things like that, where we grew up. There's like a horror movie host, like those kind of things, where they'll show bad movies on weekends and stuff like that. But Jesus has his own public access show. Yeah, talk show. The guy that calls in first is really good, because he's like, oh yeah, how's that advice that I gave you last week? And he goes, oh yeah, she hasn't talked back at all, or she hasn't opened her mouth.
I got real worried about that one. I don't know. I don't think Jesus realized what, like, that guy was talking about.
I thought it was funny.
My mind immediately went to true crime. What did he do?
Stan calls in, and he tells Jesus that he has a gay dog. And Jesus starts to give his true opinion. He starts to explain where his stance is on this.
He was, like, really excited to tell his stance on homosexuality.
Yes. And before he could, the show got cut off for Marty's movie reviews. and Stan gets upset.
Which I think is pretty funny. I like that.
Yes.
I like the joke.
I like that it's clearly so that they don't step on toes, but also because nobody really knows what the Bible really says.
Or what Jesus himself actually thought.
Yeah. Which I'm sure is
honestly
complicated. Go ahead.
I would think that he doesn't care if they're gay.
I think he'd be accepted, is my guess.
Because that was his whole thing.
Yes. Just accept everyone, try to love thy neighbor.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Like, all of that.
His message really boils down to just be kind to each other.
Be kind. Like, it shouldn't matter. It's interpreted many different ways, though.
So Stan gets mad about this, and Sparky overhears it, because Sparky was outside at the time, and he hears that Stan doesn't want a gay dog. He wants a butch dog. He wants a Rin Tin Tin. And Sparky is upset, and he feels ashamed, and he runs away.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
Because Sparky is like, I just am gay. I can't help that. So he decides that he has to leave.
The sad thing is, you could parallel this with actual, like, kids or, like, people,
runaways,
too,
sure,
who aren't accepted as, like, in their family. It's so sad.
Oh yeah, sure. If you made this like a person, I mean, I always think that it works better with dogs, like the Futurama episode or this, than a person, just because
to get a message across.
Yeah, because
people actually feel a little bit more towards an animal
feel more
than they
emphatic.
do a human.
Yeah, there's more empathy toward them. Yeah.
Sadly, it's actually a psychologically true thing.
They're designed to be that way. So then we get back to the football game, and Chef is telling the boys that you have to hold your football like you would your lover. Nurturing and firm at the same time. So for those of you out there that are football players, just remember to hold the football like a lover. You have to hold it with your arm underneath. I can't really figure out. I was trying to figure out how I get my arm shape and it could make some sense, but the best you could do is cup your own breast. You can't...
Well, I was thinking more like, in your hand.
You're thinking
not under your arm.
No, because I'm thinking of like running with it, where if you're running.
I know, but you're doing a headlock.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to
here.
Yeah, firm.
That's how you hold your lover. You hold them in a headlock.
Some people are into some different stuff, Rachel.
As long as there's consent, then that's fine.
As long as it's between
otherwise,
consenting adults.
I would not hold your lover in a headlock.
Unless they want you to. Then give it a shot, I guess. He starts to talk sing about this, and then Kyle has to shout him to stop doing it, to like shout him back, because he's about to go into a song. And Chef again tells Pip he can't get a helmet. Jimbo decides that he wants to make a bomb. So he goes, I love that he goes...
Very extreme.
The store that he goes to is called, like, Bomb and Explosive Device Store. And he goes to the guy and tells him that he wants the bomb to go off when they hit the high F in Loving You.
I love that he knows the note.
Of course. I love this little bit where all three of them are trying to hit the high F.
We want that bomb to go off when he hits that high F.
What high F?
You know, loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Sorry, so you want the trigger on the doot-and-do?
No, damn it, the... Great. You got it.
All right, yeah, okay.
That's one of the best parts of the show. So Stan is telling Chef that he can't find his dog, and he thinks he ran away because he's gay. And Chef tells him, well, you can't teach a gay dog straight tricks. I feel like that should be on a t-shirt for some reason.
I love that. I like that line. You can't teach a gay dog straight
tricks.
Folks
at home are gay fans, are fans in the LGBTQ plus community. Let us know if that should be a t-shirt, because it feels like it should be a t-shirt.
It feels like a t-shirt. We could make Sparky the new mascot, the face.
Yeah, it's a picture. I mean, the South Park guys we couldn't do this because it's the South Park. But if South Park guys had a picture of Sparky with that as the
with
same,
a rainbow,
yeah, I like it.
It's beautiful.
Garrison shows up and says not to give him any of that pro-gay propaganda or something like that. In the year that we're recording this sounds like it could be coming out of the mouth of some of the members of Congress, which Garrison fits. Although this is just him, starting his presidential campaign, really. And Chef asks if Garrison is gay because he's like, I thought you were gay. And he says, no, who just acts that way to get chicks. And
Mr. Garrison.
Who ironically...
The journey you're about to go on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sparky finds the Big Gay Al animal sanctuary in the middle of the wilderness.
Yes. Which looks like a castle.
Rachel, I would like you to describe Big Gay Al before I give my description of Big Gay Al.
Big Gay Al is a big gay guy. I mean, yes. No, Big Gay Al is extremely flamboyant. He's the extreme version, I guess, of flamboyancy.
Very stereotypical.
And Very stereotypical. Fantastic. I like him, though. He's one of those, like, very perky people that just, like, make you smile. I love that. Very, very kind of a cool dude. I don't like his scum stash, but he does have, like, a creepy stash.
I think it's supposed to be like a John Waters mustache. He's actually simultaneously, almost...
Oh! I know who this guy is. Yes.
The interesting thing about this is that this was taking place... This episode happened on September 3rd, 1997, like I said. Homer's phobia, which is the Simpsons equivalent of this episode, took place on February 16th, 1997. So just earlier in the year.
Oh, that's weird.
And it must have just been that time and culture for this to kind of happen. And that has John Waters in it. John Waters plays the gay character that Homer befriends in it. And he's got the famous pencil-thin mustache. I think that's why Big Al has it in this. I mean...
I could see that. But, I mean, he's just like a very stereotypical flamboyant gay man.
I said he's your magical...
He's a very happy guy.
Your magical...
He does seem kind of magical.
Yeah.
He does seem kind of like...
They're clearly making fun of, like, the, like, I'm a magical creature kind of thing.
Yes, I could see that. He wears a very colorful sweater and no undershirt.
With an ascot.
Yes.
And he's always got I always picture it as being one of those Cruella de Vil cigarettes. He's got a cigarette in his hand. But I want it
We
to
talked
be
about this before.
DeVille.
I love those Cruella de Vil cigarette, like, holders. They're so dumb, but I love it. It's so posh. He also has the earring, which...
Does he?
I remember...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the one earring, which I do remember being kids, and that was a way of telling. Like, I know, like... I feel like that's not really
it probably
thing.
Wasn't real, yeah, but it was like, oh, he's got he's
but it was like, this guy's got one earring,
that means
which means he's gay, and it's just like, that's such a weird thing.
It's especially a weird thing when, in 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin had earrings.
Yeah!
He clearly was not a gay icon, like...
Right! So it was always odd to me that was, like, the tell.
Yeah.
That somebody
there was always
earring.
stupid shit like that.
There's like, oh, this is a tell.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not. Calm down.
I wonder if there still is stuff like that. Whether it's kids or it's... I mean, it's got to be different nowadays.
Oh, you think like what kids do? Like how they interpret things?
Yeah. Or just that rumor starts where it's like, oh, he has... blah blah blah, that that means he's
XYZ.
Gay or what.
Yeah,
I'm sure on like conspiracy theory sites that's definitely the case, where it's like, oh look, he's got, I don't know, he's got sideburns, that means that he's one of the Illuminati. Who fucking knows?
I like this. I like mutton chops mean Illuminati.
Let's start that. Yeah. Folks at home, start that. Get those fucking morons on that. That's better than most of the shit that they do. If we just say mutton chops means that they're part of the Illuminati.
That's right. You heard it here first.
I'm gonna grow some mutton chops now. Stan starts punching Cartman because Cartman is making gay jokes at the expense of his dog. And so whenever he makes a gay joke, he punches him, and then you get that Cartman, hey!
No, we didn't finish up with the Big Gay Al, though, part. We talked about who Big Gay Al is, but we didn't talk about that scene.
Well, he invites Sparky in. Go ahead.
Right. So Sparky finds Big Gay Al's sanctuary, and Big Gay Al comes out to greet him.
Oh, hello there.
And it's like he's just like so sweet to the guy. He's just like, oh, you found me, and he goes, well, guess what? You're not gonna be. Nobody will ever oppress you here.
Oh, okay.
Is what he says, and I like that because it's just like he's so welcoming, and he's just like, no, you can come here. You live with us. You could become our part of the family. And I'm like, it's just so touching. I like it. It's like sweet. It's sad, but it's also sweet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is sad because he was rejected by his fan. He thinks that Stan did reject him.
because of what he was being taught.
Right.
Yes.
Jimbo puts a bomb on the back of the horse mascot of the Middle Park Cowboys.
Yeah. He puts a bomb on the mascot.
So he's gonna blow up this horse. He's gonna blow up this horse to blow up the kids. It's a very nefarious plot by Jimbo.
Oh my god. It's such an extreme way of fixing what he started. Like, okay.
But it's Jimbo. That's how he thinks. He's a hillbilly. A son of the soil, to not be offensive to our hillbilly fans.
Is hillbilly offensive?
I think that they wanted it to be at some point, and it's like, Too bad. The Middle Park
Confused me.
The Middle Park Cowboys show up, and it looks like it's going to be the bad guy team from a movie, like the Mighty Ducks or something like that.
Oh yeah, they also look slightly older, which is like weird,
Yeah,
because they
they're
look
all
bulkier.
bigger, and they all look older. They're in perfect formation where they're like hut 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 hut. They're like getting off the bus and formation and stuff. Just like South Park is a region of the basin in Colorado, Middle Park is also a basin in the region of Colorado. So it is based on an idea, and the idea is that Middle Park is considered more well-to-do in Colorado.
Okay.
I guess. This is what I read. I don't know if it still is or if it was at the time. You get that a little bit when Jimbo and Ned get to put the bomb on the mascot, because the elementary school looks bigger and has like a giant satellite dish on the roof.
Yeah, it's got like an interesting architecture to it, which I guess makes it look a little bit fancier.
Yeah. Which, you know...
Like, they must have a little bit more money to give to the students.
Which is always going to be the way that it is, right? The school with less money is not going to have the ability to have the better athletes and stuff.
Right, the better tools, the better all of that.
To train them and things, The South Park side is mad because Stan isn't there, because Stan decided to hell with the game, he's going to go find his dog. And... Jimbo's like, well, at least we have the bomb. I love how obvious it is. There's just this giant bomb sitting on top of the horse. And no one is questioning it. So Stan is wandering around and in the woods, and he finds the sanctuary, and we get an "I'm super, thanks for asking" from Big Gay Al. It's his catchphrase. Super? It became a song in the movie, and I feel like that's one of the more famous lines from the first season, too. And Big Gay Al shows Stan all the big gay animals at the sanctuary. It's the one place that gay animals can be themselves.
It's kind of like an arc. I think I figured out what it is. It's like an arc, isn't it? It's not just a... Because that's the shape.
I did not get that either, but I guess you're kind of right. This is where he shows them that there's all a bunch of different gay animals in it.
It's like a zoo.
I didn't remember this line at all, this joke at all. When it happened, I was like, that is hilarious. It still is hilarious. Because he's going, oh yeah, all different type of animals are gay. Here's a gay water buffalo, and here's a gay gaggle of geese. And he says, here's a gay lion, and the lion roars.
We have all sorts of gay animals here at Big Gay Al's. Over here we have a gay lion. Roar.
It's great. Oh, I love it, though. I'd love to meet a gay lion.
Maybe you have, Rachel. Maybe you have.
It's
It's not like they're advertising it. It's not like they walk up to you.
It's true. They just kind of are.
I mean, I'm sure that there are some people that are like this where the first thing they do is tell you they're gay. I'm sure there is, because something is...
Well, it's like vegans.
Yeah. Animals are going to be the same way, where they're like...
Right. They just kind of are.
Yeah.
There's animals where it's like, well, they have the offspring. The males take care of the offspring with each other. So they kind of have, like, their male mate.
Goddamn right, brother, we're taking care of the kids tonight.
Because, like, the females are like, no, I'm just here to procreate, and then I'm out.
Aren't penguins like that? Or the
penguins do that, yeah. The females go to find food, and they give the males the eggs, and then they all kind of huddle together.
That's right. We'll do,
And they mate for life.
What's the movie?
And if they lose their mate, then usually another male will, like, they'll team up together. So they either team together or
that penguin has two
or they're
dads.
Lonely, and it's sad and it's wonderful. They work together.
Gay Penguins comes up in an episode of Parks and Rec, which we'll do further down, and we have Parks and Rec on the list already. Back at the football game, Kyle has to play quarterback because Stan's not there. And Cartman decides to torture Kyle while he has the chance, so he farts so that Kyle doesn't want to take the snap. And Kyle's like, I'm not doing it, man. And Chef's like, we'll get a delay of game. Just snap the ball. Right. And I hope that Kyle puts the
shirt over the nose
to take the snap. And of course, the Cowboys are way better than they are, so Kyle gets sacked, and immediately the Cowboys get the score because he fumbled the football as well.
Are they also the Cowboys to be like, with like the Cowboys of...
I didn't think about that until I just said it, but I think that's true. I think that's part of it, and I think it's also...
But instead of a star, they have a gun.
Yeah, but that, and I think that the South Park are the cows, so that the Cowboys are the
so
thing
they
that pick on
cows,
the
Cowboys.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Now that you've mentioned it, and of course the Cowboys are also the bad guy team in Little Giants.
Right. Yes.
So
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it always comes in there.
I feel like, does that mean something with the NFL too? With the,
Yes,
you know,
100%. The Cowboys are the bad guy team.
They are.
One of. There are some heel teams in the NFL.
Yeah, true.
The Cowboys have always been a heel team. They're not America's team, they're the heels. Which I guess is also par for the course.
Interesting. So if they are America's team, they are a heel.
Yeah, it's kind of
interesting.
Kind of makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does that make anybody think a little bit?
Well, we think, you and I think they're the heels, but there are plenty of people out there that think they're the faces. Folks at home, let us know. Are the America's team, the Cowboys, your favorites?
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah, why not? We like shitty teams too.
I don't know. I only do fantasy. I don't know if I like a team. I prefer like the characters, the people on the team.
Of course,
it's what I look at.
Every team is shitty. Every team in every sport has something in their closet.
Yes.
No pun intended for the subject matter at hand.
I was thinking skeletons, and you went gay.
They I didn't mean that. Well, yeah. There's
both.
This is where you get a running gag in this episode. This is what I remembered. This is what I thought was funny as a kid in this episode, where the commentator kept saying something extremely offensive. And,
yes.
And the
I
other commentator has to cut him off. That was what I thought was funny in this episode as a kid.
Well, I haven't seen a beating like that since Rodney King. Now, Frank, that's not very PC. You're going to get us in trouble again. Right. I got to watch that.
That's what he says, and that's a good running joke. So Rodney King was one of the first. We have footage of a black guy being beaten up by police in the modern era.
Okay.
So 92, 93, I'm going to get the year wrong, but early 90s in Los Angeles, Rodney King was getting arrested by the police for drugs or something, and the police kind of beat the shit out of him. And there was somebody else near them that was recording it, so it became a national thing. There were started riots in Los Angeles, and there were protests across the country. Not dissimilar to 2020, except for different. Obviously, the 2020 one was very different.
Oh my god!
Than what happened in the Rodney King.
Kind of hateful.
But if you're just thinking of kind of history repeating itself in a way, it kind of. That was kind of
it kind of shows that.
Yeah. All the police officers ended up, I think, getting not guilty verdicts as well, which I think that's what started the riots.
Sure.
That's the joke there.
But a lot of this is in the 90s,
yeah.
And a lot of the people that might be listening probably don't know the history.
Right.
So it's always nice to kind of understand the joke or understand what they're trying to
convey.
Tell.
Yeah. Pip, because he's not wearing a helmet, the other kid on the Cowboys team just headbutts him. So, of course, that gives... You would assume Pip a concussion, but the commentator says,
"Oh my! I haven't seen an Englishman take a blow like that since Hugh Grant, dude. Now that is not cool." Sorry.
Rachel, I feel like you probably don't know what this one was referring to.
The word "blow," and I would imagine that's a drug.
No. So do you remember?
All right.
Do you know who Hugh Grant is?
Yes, I know who Hugh Grant is.
Oh, I'm so charmingly befuddled that Hugh Grant.
Right, yes, he's
actor.
A lot of the times in some rom-coms and stuff. Well, I guess just romances, they're not really rom-coms.
Oh, I'll try to be, so romantic comedies. So he was big in the 90s for romantic comedies. I'm sure we'll do some of them at some point so that Rachel can say whether or not they're good and I can be annoyed by them. And,
well, I can tell you they're all bad.
And there was an incident where he was arrested for soliciting a prostitute. So that is the reference there. So the blow in question is not cocaine like you thought. It is.
Well, that is legitimately where my brain went.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that your brain is not in the gutter. So that's that reference. Stan finds Sparky because Big Gay Al took him to the Big Gay Techno dance floor, I guess. What would you call this? Dance club?
Like a club.
Yeah, there's like a dance club in the animal sanctuary.
Like a club. Yeah.
And all the animals are dancing with each other, which is also hilarious because they're cardboard cutouts, but there's like a dolphin and a lion and everything, and they're all just dancing. So Stan's having fun.
Yeah, it's a bit psychedelic. It doesn't kind of make any sense, the animal part, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to obviously be a reference to like Studio 54 or different gay clubs from the past. Which
oh yeah, sure.
And
well, it's like the underground
yeah,
kind of thing.
Exactly.
A place for people who are being oppressed to go to actually be themselves.
Right. Like comic book stores. And Stan sees Sparky and he's like, Sparky, finally, like we can go home. I missed you, big guy. And we can work on making you not gay together. And Sparky won't leave now because he's like,
right.
You just don't get it. And
right.
Big Gay Al's like, oh, little boy, you don't understand. So this is where Big Gay Al takes Stan on his titular Big Gay boat ride.
Yes!
And it's where you get to see gayness throughout time. That might be how he says it.
I think that's kind of like the whole idea, yeah. Is to kind of see, it's like the history of gayness.
Yeah. Yeah, so it talks about how being gay has been something that has been throughout time. I thought that this was very surface level, rudimentary, but at the time it was probably very new or very forthcoming that you didn't see about homosexuality, because I thought like, all right, so basically the argument is just that this has been around, it's a natural thing, so just
right.
let it, but it is very it's very brief, I thought. But I guess that's probably the best way to do it, is just make your point and move on, as opposed to like beating someone over the head with it.
Right. Which I like, because part of, in like one of these, they are beating over the head of a gay man. Like, it's like a Nazi and...
Oh, yes. The oppressors. Christians and Republicans and Nazis.
Yes.
The Republican sign...
Still.
I thought the Republican sign looked kind of like a QAnon sign for a second. I thought it was the QAnon symbol. It's not. It's an elephant carved out of the flag.
I don't know what the QAnon symbol is.
When you look at it really quickly...
Oh, it's just a Q.
Yeah, it's just a Q, but it's always like red, white... Like, you see the idiots at certain political rallies, like, holding up their Q sign, and, like, sometimes it looks like that.
Gotcha. It does, though. I can see what you mean, because the background is gray,
yeah,
and the elephant is gray,
morphed.
so it looks like it could be cut out. Yeah.
A little bit, in my head anyway, just because of what I'm used to having to look at.
Because of the sadness that's happening.
Yeah. Yes. They sing "We're All Gay and That's Okay." It's basically a small world after all.
Right.
And Stan understands now and says that he's sorry he tried to change Sparky. He learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Back at the game, Kenny took a kickoff and he started getting down to the goal line, or he's, at the 40, at the 30. The Cowboys catch up to him and they rip his arms off and they decapitate him.
Yes! What is that? That should be a penalty.
That's
like,
what Chef
happening?
says. It should be a personal foul, or at least let him scrape him off the field.
Right. It's ridiculous.
I did like "That's gotta hurt, Frank" from the commentator on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to halftime, and John Stamos' brother can't hit the high F. He always screws it up. So he starts singing "Loving You," and he's like, ah, ah. He like can't do it.
Right.
So Jimbo's worried.
That's a hard note to hit.
It's a very hard note to hit. I'm not even going to try.
Absolutely not. I don't sing.
And neither do I, but that doesn't stop me. And Jimbo is worried because this means they're going to get their asses kicked. So Al tells Stan to tell the...
I do also love how Stamos looks, though, with his eyes.
Yeah, why does he look like that? That's why I thought... That's why I always thought it had to be based on somebody real. But it's not, so I don't know why he has these eyes, but he does.
Maybe that's why, because they look like soulless eyes. So maybe
like
it's
black
because...
eyes, like a doll's eyes.
They're horrifying. Like these chibi, baby eyes. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, they definitely do. So back at the sanctuary, Al tells Stan to tell the people that there are a lot of gay animals that need homes. Which should just be there that there are a lot of animals that need homes. And Stan
Right.
tells him he's going to go back to the game and he's going to tell them that. Back at the game, the commenter says, I haven't seen so many molested kids since, and it cuts him off before he could finish the line, which I thought was funny.
God.
Everyone,
Like, no.
there's a bunch of theories on the internet of what that line was and that people think Comedy Central made them cut it out. I don't think that's the case. I think that that's the joke.
I think they made it open-ended, yeah on purpose.
Stan shows up and gets to the game in time, and I love this joke. Jimbo prays to Jesus to allow them to score a touchdown to cover the spread.
Jesus, now I haven't asked you for much, but all we need is one little score. Please, please, Jesus.
Leave me alone.
And it cuts to Jesus in the stands like a few rows in front of Jimbo, and he just goes, leave me alone. It's...
Like, leave me out
I
of
love
it.
it. That's so funny. And I've always loved the people that pray for sports results.
Yes.
Do you really think that God or Jesus or any of your other
Care?
Whoever you believe in cares who wins the Super Bowl?
Right.
I don't think they do.
And do you not think that the opposite team is also doing the same thing?
Now we're getting into
So
we're going to start a George Carlin bit. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, who's he gonna listen to? I'm getting it from both sides. What am I supposed to say?
I guess it's whoever is more devout.
But it forcing Jesus to take a side. Jesus is like, no.
Yeah, that's why Jesus says, leave me alone. But like when you see players praying, I always assume that they're praying to not get hurt.
Yeah, it's probably more so
I always
make
assumed,
sure everything goes okay.
Yeah, that everything
not
goes
get
well,
hurt.
not to win the game.
Like that I don't screw up like an idiot
Yeah.
type of thing. Like, let me just not embarrass myself is kind of probably what I would do it for.
So Stan goes in the game. He throws to Kyle, the little Jewish kid, as they are clear to point out on commentary.
I haven't seen a Jew run like that since Poland 1938.
Dude!
Oh my god.
He,
that one I understand.
He gets the year wrong, though. He gets the year wrong, because Poland was invaded in 1939. Which I guess you could have been running away because if you smelt
because you knew it was happening.
Smelt it coming, yeah. So they only lose 73-6, and they beat the spread, and that's all that the South Park community cares about is beating the spread.
Right.
And they let Stan give a post-game speech because of this heroic effort, and Stan says it's okay to be gay. It's part of nature and a beautiful thing. And he explains that he was at Big Gay Al's and he learned about the wonders of being gay. And the crowd is kind of taken aback by this.
Confused. Yeah.
I feel like if they're not as cynical as they could have been.
They didn't start like throwing stuff at him and yelling.
That's what I mean. They don't take it as
they kind of are
offensively,
listening.
yeah, as I thought that they could have in this episode for the time. And Stan decides to try to show them, like, no, I'm going to show you that it's really there, but it's gone. The sanctuary is gone. But all the animals are still there, and the people are, like, finding all of their animals, and they're being accepting of all of their gay animals that ran away from home. It's a very touching ending. People, a lot of people in the reviews said that this felt like a very sweet episode compared to the first three, and for the season in general.
I can understand that though. It
is a happy ending with a very nice message of acceptance and tolerance to it.
Big Al is there though.
Yes, Big Al is suddenly there, and he's like, "Oh, Stan, thank you for bringing everyone here." And he decides that his work here is done for now. And he gets into his suitcase.
He becomes this magical thing.
He jumps in his suitcase and runs away. Or he presses a button. He jumps in
his suitcase.
And it, like,
he walks into it like it's a TARDIS or like it's the stupid suitcase from Fantastic Beasts. Like,
yeah, that's true, yeah.
Like, honestly, that's literally what it... Like, I was like, oh my god, I forgot about this. And now that's what it reminds me of.
I was trying to figure out if it was a reference to something. I mean, Fantastic Beasts obviously is way after this.
It's the opposite, yeah.
But, yeah, like a TARDIS or a thing, or maybe it's just kind of a trope. But it definitely does remind me of that.
Right.
And then Stamos shows back up. And he's like, guys, I can do it. I can finally hit the high F. And Jimbo's like, no, don't. And for some reason, they brought the horse with the bomb on him.
Yeah, why did they bring him in? This poor horse.
And he hits the high F, and it blows up the horse. And that's the end of the episode. And the credits, the credits play unironically one of my favorite songs, "Now You're a Man," from Orgasmo by DVDA, which is the band that Trey and Matt have. And I love that song. It's now you're a man, now you're a man. Which I think is also part of the idea of the masculinity being tied with heterosexual and homosexuality.
Yes.
As well. Which doesn't need to be... You don't have to be the most butch asshole on the planet to prove that you're straight.
Well, it's men that are gay, women that are gay, anything... I guess, like, any type of person.
It's a whole spectrum of that. The flag just keeps gaining colors on it. There's like a triangle on it now.
There's 20.
I think they're gonna...
I was looking them
next
up.
They're gonna have to put, like, just a plus sign because they're gonna run out of room.
I always feel... I always feel bad because I'm like, I can never remember all of the flags. Like, some of them I remember, and I remember, like, the ones that are, like, for...
One of my neighbors has has the new one with the triangle.
Is it?
So it has the... pastel-y colors that they've added.
And the black, like the black triangle on the sign.
There's a black... I don't know if there's a black triangle on the side. I know they've got the one with the regular rainbow, and then the triangle that's cutting into the rainbow, which is kind of more badass than
with
just
the trans,
rainbow.
because it's got the trans
stuff. Oh, is that
in
what
it
is? Okay, I had no
The trans flag
clue.
is the light blue, the pink, and the white.
Yeah, see, I don't know these things.
I remember that one.
So anyway...
I'm trying! I'm doing my best!
Yeah,
no, the one with the black on it, I think
it all moves way too fast for me anyway, so just correct me politely.
I just
if
go
I'm
with
wrong.
rainbows. I just go, you know what, rainbows.
Yeah.
That's like the whole umbrella.
Anyway.
That's the Progress Pride. The one with the triangle on it. Sorry, now you have me looking at them again.
I've had Rachel looking up.
Because I had a friend because they went to something and they had a lesbian flag. And I was like, I don't remember this one. I had to look it up.
If anybody's tracking you, they're going to be like, what the hell is this? She looked up Rodney King and pride flags. She must be getting ready to go on
and the
some
QAnon
weird...
symbol.
And QAnon. She is getting ready to protest, and I don't know what for.
Get ready. Oh, man. Everything. I just want to go out and do everything.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Rachel, what did you think? And what did you learn today?
Oh, I like Big Al's Big A. Well, Ryan. I like Big Al. I think he's a fun character. I think he's very perky. I like him. He is. He's very positive. He's a very positive, like, the you know what the word I'm trying to come up with? It's like he's like a positive force. Yeah. And he like just exudes positivity, and I just love him. I think it's a great message, but that's also kind of like I feel like you should be accepting, and I feel like the oppression sucks and it shouldn't be there. And the sad thing is this I think does still work in this day and age. I still think it's a message that needs to be pushed. And it's nice that like Stan actually did learn that too. Like he was being kind of bullied into thinking of the other way, and then gets this realization that it's like, well, it doesn't really matter.
He was concerned about what it meant about him, which it didn't mean anything about him. So why did he fucking care? But he thought that it does, because he's getting
it was
bullied.
A bad thing.
He's getting bullied because of it. Yeah.
And he didn't want it to be a bad thing,
right?
And it's not.
Yep.
So I thought that was nice that he actually had like that arch from being like showed different versions.
Whatever consenting adults want to do with each other, as long as it's not hurting another person or themselves,
right?
They should be allowed to do. Because who fucking cares? That is kind of what the point of a right to privacy and small government mean. So anyway, did you learn anything?
Did I learn anything? Yeah. I learned that football is like a woman.
Damn it, I was going to steal that one.
Oh, do you want me to go with a different one?
Do that one.
Sometimes you score and sometimes you don't. But you gotta treat it like a woman, though. And treat the ball like a lover as well. Right. You know, football is all about the sexual partner that you are with.
Football is very sexual. I mean, the one guy has his hand right next to another guy's for every single play. Taint?
Would you rather? I don't like that word either. Can we not?
Folks at home, let us know what you call that part area.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I liked this episode. I thought it was funnier than I remembered. It does have a very quaint message. It is crazy to think that people thought this was a huge step toward gay rights on television, and it was coming from South Park. of all places.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
But at the time, they really did think that it was. It got awards from LGBT groups for it. It was considered very progressive. They thought it was staunchly gay affirmative at the time, and
I still think it is.
yeah, and for Trey and Matt, still to this day, I think, get pegged as libertarian. And I understand that because a lot of what they say is, I think they've been quoted as saying they hate conservatives, but they really hate liberals. And it's I think it's because they see the world as everyone sucks, and and we should just be I know that they make fun of religion and stuff, and I know that they poke fun at,
they make fun of
everything, and I know
even themselves.
And I know that they make fun of Jesus, and they make fun of themselves, and they make fun of all that stuff. But I think that their message really is, and I'll say it the way that they would say it, like, dude, just mind your business. Dude, be kind to each other. Dude, who cares?
Yes.
And I think that is why they get labeled as libertarian.
The acceptance.
Because it's like, dude, what the fuck do you care? Like, just let the world be the world. Why does it bother you? I don't know. I think it is. I think it's interesting to see it as a relic from 1997. But like you said, some people still kind of need that message to be heard. And I do think that a lot of the parts of it are good. I thought the football stuff is very funny. As a huge football fan, an uncontrollable football fan. And they are too. They like football, obviously. I thought all of that was very, very good. The commentator stuff, the quotes from Chef, all of that's very good. I think it's the first South Park with a blatant message. I think Volcano had messages in it, and YK4000 had some message too. This one has
I feel like this is a stronger message.
Has a very blatant satirical message, other than Don't Hurt an Endangered Species that Volcano had. I think it's a strong episode from season 1 from them. What did I learn today?
Yes.
Oh boy. I learned that British people probably should wear helmets.
I think so.
Yeah. Just in general.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody...
I think everybody should wear a helmet.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just in general life. But especially if everyone around you is wearing a helmet, but you're not, you probably should put a helmet on or find one.
Probably.
Yeah.
There might be a need to put that helmet on for something that's going on.
I would agree.
In the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's okay because everybody's wearing a helmet.
That's
so
right. So
like
you're not being singled out, everybody else is. So that is the end of Big Gay Ale's Big Gay Boat Ride. And we're going to get a little down and dirty in our next episode with elephants and pigs. But when we wait a minute. Oh, come on. We ran out of... Is that the music? The music is... Okay, fine. We're out of time, fans. We're out of time. We'll see you next time. Here at Salma. Everybody here on Shelflife. I love to sing about the moon and the tuna and the springer. I love to sing